Remember when flying was a luxury? It was an experience to be savored, not just a means to an end. Those crisp uniforms, free meals and legroom, oh the legroom. It was a time when the journey was just as important as the destination. Then came Spirit Airlines. A splash of yellow and black shaking up the skies. They promised to make air travel accessible to everyone. They offered rock-bottom fares, no-frills flights, and a chance for everyone to see the world. It was a revolution in the skies. It was a simple equation: pay less, fly more. The concept was irresistible to many, and people loved it. The airline grew rapidly, adding routes, planes, and those signature yellow wingtips that became synonymous with budget travel. Spirit grew rapidly, adding routes, planes, and those signature yellow wingtips. They were everywhere, and it seemed like nothing could stop them. They were the kings of unbundling, letting you choose exactly what you paid for. Seat selection, bags, even a cup of coffee. It was all about giving control to the passenger. Sure, there were critics. People joked about the cramped seats and extra fees. The airline became a punchline in many conversations, but for budget travelers, Spirit was a godsend. It allowed them to travel without breaking the bank, opening up new possibilities. But like Icarus flying too close to the sun, cracks began to show. The model that once seemed invincible started to falter. The pandemic hit the airline industry hard, and Spirit was no exception. Flights were grounded, and the once bustling terminals became eerily quiet. Losses mounted, debts piled up, and suddenly those bright yellow planes seemed a little less cheerful. The future of the airline that once soared high was now uncertain. It wasn't just the pandemic, though it dealt a hefty blow. The airline industry is notoriously competitive, and Spirit was caught in a crosswind of challenges. Fuel prices soared, eating into already thin profit margins. Labor costs rose as pilots and crew demanded better wages and working conditions. Meanwhile, larger airlines like United and Delta started offering their own versions of budget fares, squeezing Spirit's niche. They had the resources to weather the storm, while Spirit was left battling on multiple fronts. Something had to give. To make matters worse, Spirit's attempts to merge with other airlines failed. A proposed merger with Frontier Airlines fell through, and a bid from JetBlue was blocked by regulators. These setbacks left Spirit vulnerable and alone, facing a financial hurricane with nowhere to land. The news hit like a thunderclap. Spirit Airlines filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It was November 18, 2024, and the airline industry held its breath. What did this mean for Spirit? What did it mean for the millions of travelers who relied on their affordable fares? Was this the end of the yellow and black? Chapter 11. Bankruptcy sounds scary, but it's not necessarily a death sentence. It's more like a restructuring, a chance to hit the reset button. Companies in Chapter 11 continue to operate while they reorganize their finances, renegotiate debts, and develop a plan to become profitable again. So while the headlines screamed bankruptcy, Spirit was quick to reassure its customers. Flights would continue as scheduled. Tickets remained valid, loyalty points were safe. It was business as usual, albeit with a touch of uncertainty hanging in the air. The bankruptcy filing marked the beginning of a complex process. Spirit entered a period of intense scrutiny, with lawyers, creditors, and the bankruptcy court all taking a close look at its books. The goal was to develop a plan that would allow Spirit to emerge from bankruptcy as a leaner, more financially stable airline. But this process takes time, and there were no guarantees of success. Spirit faced difficult decisions about its fleet, its workforce, and its overall strategy. Cuts were inevitable, and the airline announced plans to reduce its workforce and sell off some of its older planes. For passengers, the most immediate impact might be changes to Spirit's flight schedule. With fewer planes and staff, some routes might be cut or consolidated. Prices could also fluctuate as the airline adjusted its fares to reflect the changing market conditions. Section 5. Keeping your tickets, flights, points, and promises. In the midst of all the financial turmoil, Spirit made one thing clear: they were committed to honoring their obligations to passengers. Flights would continue to operate, and existing tickets remained valid. If you had a trip booked with Spirit, you could still expect to board that plane. The airline also reassured its loyal customers that their frequent flyer points and credits were safe. These programs are valuable assets for airlines, and Spirit had no intention of alienating its most dedicated travelers. Your miles weren't going anywhere. However, there were some caveats. While existing bookings were secure, Spirit advised passengers to check their flight status regularly, as changes to the schedule were possible. They also recommended purchasing travel insurance for added peace of mind, just in case. Section 6. The Mechanics Bay Spirit's Restructuring Plan. With the bankruptcy filing behind it, Spirit got to work on its restructuring plan. This plan was not just a simple document, but a comprehensive roadmap designed to navigate the airline through turbulent financial waters. This complex document outlined how the airline intended to get back on its financial feet and emerge from bankruptcy as a stronger company. It was a detailed blueprint that covered every aspect of the business, from financial restructuring to operational efficiency. It involved a mix of debt reduction, cost-cutting measures, and strategic realignment. Each of these components was crucial for the airline's survival and future growth. One of the key elements of the plan involved renegotiating debts with creditors. This was a delicate process that required careful negotiation and strategic planning. Spirit owed billions of dollars to various lenders, and these debts were a major drag on its finances. The sheer scale of the debt was staggering, and addressing it was a top priority. The bankruptcy process allowed Spirit to sit down with creditors and hammer out new payment terms, potentially reducing its overall debt load. This was a significant step towards financial stability. Another crucial aspect was cost reduction. This wasn't just about cutting expenses, but about making the airline more efficient and competitive. Spirit had already announced plans to cut its workforce and sell off some of its older, less fuel-efficient planes. These measures were aimed at reducing operational costs and improving the airline's overall efficiency. The airline also explored other avenues for cost savings, such as renegotiating contracts with suppliers and streamlining its operations. These efforts were all part of a broader strategy to ensure long-term sustainability and profitability. Section 7. Ripples in the Sky Impacts on the Airline Industry. Spirit's bankruptcy sent shockwaves through the airline industry. As a major player in the budget travel market, its struggles were a stark reminder of the challenges facing the industry as a whole. Other airlines watched closely, analyzing Spirit's moves and bracing for potential fallout. One immediate impact was increased competition. With Spirit shrinking its operations, other budget airlines like Frontier and Allegiant saw an opportunity to grab market share. They could potentially snap up some of Spirit's routes and customers, leading to a shakeup in the low-cost travel landscape. The ripples could also be felt among larger carriers. While they didn't directly compete with Spirit on price, they kept a close eye on the evolving market dynamics. If Spirit's bankruptcy led to a consolidation in the budget sector, it could create a more formidable competitor down the line. Section 8. Blue Skies Ahead, Possible Futures for Spirit. As Spirit navigated the choppy waters of bankruptcy, several possible scenarios emerged for its future. The airline, known for its ultra-low-cost model, faced a critical juncture that would determine its path forward. The most optimistic outcome involved a successful restructuring, allowing Spirit to emerge as a leaner, more competitive airline. This would involve cutting costs, renegotiating contracts, and possibly downsizing some operations to focus on the most profitable routes. With its debts reduced and its operations streamlined, Spirit could potentially regain its footing and continue to offer affordable travel options. This would be a win for budget-conscious travelers who rely on Spirit for low-cost flights. Another possibility was a merger or acquisition. In this scenario, Spirit could join forces with another airline, combining resources and networks to create a stronger entity. While previous attempts had failed, Spirit's weakened financial state could make it a more attractive target for potential buyers. A merger could provide the necessary capital and operational support to keep Spirit flying. Another airline might see value in acquiring Spirit's brand recognition, customer base, and existing infrastructure. This could lead to an expanded route network and improved services for passengers. However, a less optimistic, though still possible, scenario involved liquidation. This would mean the end of Spirit Airlines as we know it. If Spirit was unable to successfully restructure its debts or find a buyer, it might be forced to cease operations and sell off its assets to pay creditors. This would include selling planes, equipment, and other valuable assets. This outcome would be a blow to both Spirit's employees and the budget travel market. Thousands of jobs would be lost and travelers would have fewer low-cost options, potentially leading to higher prices across the industry. Section 9. The Spirit of Travel. A final word. Spirit Airlines' bankruptcy filing was a stark reminder of the volatility of the airline industry. It highlighted the challenges of operating on razor-thin margins, the impact of external shocks like pandemics, and the fierce competition within the market. but it also underscored the enduring appeal of budget travel. Despite its struggles, Spirit's brand remained strong. Millions of travelers appreciated its no-frills approach and its commitment to affordable fares. The desire for accessible travel wouldn't disappear, even if Spirit's future remained uncertain. Whether Spirit emerged from bankruptcy as a stronger airline, was acquired by another company, or faded into the annals of aviation history, its impact on the industry would be felt for years to come. And somewhere, a yellow and black plane would continue to inspire a sense of adventure and the possibility of reaching new horizons.